today's class will incorporate a really interesting balancing built into our flow section. So I'm really excited to share that with you today. So let's get started and we'll start laying down. I love starting laying down. I think it's just a really nice transition from the day, whatever kind of day you've had so far. Just I don't usually lay down in the day, so taking a moment to transition in this way, I think feels good. You could lay down in Shavasana with your arms and legs outstretched, or maybe bend your knees and stand your feet up near the edges of your mat. Let your arms explore a little bit and then find a nice resting spot. Sometimes it's nice to have the arms up and overhead. You can interlace the fingers or kind of do those cactus arms or goalpost arms. Go ahead and just keep exploring until you feel like being still. And right away here, noticing your breath. Seeing if we can kind of accentuate what's already going on with your breathing and just taking it a little lower, maybe a little slower, down for some belly breathing, letting your belly expand with your inhales and soften with your exhales. Let it feel more natural. So if you're forcing it too much, try to take a step back and let your body do the breathing. And as you continue to be present with your breath, just start to notice what you notice. We're taking kind of the observer point of view here and just noticing what we notice. What thoughts come into your head? Where is your mind going in this stillness? And just see if you can stay in that awareness, noticing what you notice. We'll take about 5 more complete and slow breaths here. Just about 2 more or so. Just keep going at your own pace, though. Whenever you're ready for our next breathing technique, we'll take 3 clearing breaths. So you'll just breathe in through your nose when you're ready, filling all the way up and pausing just for a moment at the top for a tiny, tiny bit of tension perhaps to build. And then open mouth, exhale, sigh or blow out of your mouth. Just 3 rounds like that in your own timing. Whenever you happen to finish those clearing breaths, just kind of relax back into the body and into a steady pace of breath. And before we start to move, just see if there's any intention or dedication that you'd like to make for your practice today. Start to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe let your head kind of rock from one side to the other. Any other little movements as you kind of reawaken physical body here. Maybe reaching long for a long body stretch. And rotating out those ankles and wrists a little bit if that's available to you here. And then we'll bring our arms down by our sides. Your choice here if your legs are straight or if you find that constructive rest, legs with the knees bent. Either way is just fine. With your inhale, just start to lift your arms up and try to find a place that feels like a good stopping point. And a couple of signals for a good stopping point would mean if your arms keep going back, but you have to kind of compensate by pushing your rib cage up or arching your back or kind of having that cow back rather. That's maybe a sign that you're going a little too far. We want to keep our back, the back of the rib cage kind of firmly down on the ground. And just see what's a natural stopping point for now. So that'll be the inhale. We'll move up like that. And with your exhale, we will bring those hands back up and then down by your sides. Let's go ahead and do that a few times. Just really easy here. Inhaling as you explore what feels like you're close to your full range here. And exhaling as you lower. Just notice how the weight kind of shifts up and down the upper back as your arms move. We're kind of really getting into some subtle feelings here. So perhaps closing your eyes if that helps you tune inward a little bit more. It's up to you. Next time your hands are down by your sides, we'll kind of reset there. So just let your shoulders and your chest kind of relax. This time we're going to do kind of a snow angel. Some of you don't have snow where you're at, but snow angels, you're just kind of moving your arms and legs in the snow to make a little angel effect. So we're just going to do that with the upper body though. With your inhale, start to reach your arms around and then up and overhead. Option to touch your fingertips at the top if you like. And then with your exhale, sweeping those arms around and down. Go ahead and move with your breath, inhaling as you sweep the arms out and then up. And exhale, back down and around. Feel free to add on a little of your own style with this. Maybe it becomes more of a dance-like movement with the arms, or maybe you wiggle your fingers or circle your wrists as you continue this movement a couple more times. Whenever you have had enough of that, we will bend our knees and then pull your knees in toward your chest a little bit and just take a little bit of free movement here as we find that massaging pressure down at the low back, the sacrum, the kind of hips and glutes a little bit there, wherever you can get that pressure, massaging sensations. I feel like it's very effective if you're on a harder floor, a little less effective if you're on a thick rug or carpet, but see what's there for you today. And when you're ready, we'll come on up to a seat, maybe rocking and rolling a couple of times up and down the spine if that feels good to you, or pressing or pushing up from either side. So just coming to a comfortable seat for a moment here. Let's bring the chin down toward the center of the chest. Your hands could just rest in your lap or either side of you on the mat if you like. And let your shoulders kind of relax down. Feel the back of your neck and just notice anything that's there to notice. And then let your right ear slowly shift towards the right shoulder. So that you're starting to feel a little stretch happening through those muscles on the left side of your neck, the scalenes. then dipping your chin back down toward the center of your chest before letting that left ear start to find that left shoulder. And noticing those scalenes on the right side of the neck. I want to say there's 3 on both sides. I'm going to have to look that up again later, but a couple different ones there. And go ahead and dip the chin back down and keep switching sides at your own pace. Just make sure you're going slow enough that you're feeling what's going on. And we're not just like rushing through to get it done. The journey is the goal. Okay. Next time your chin is down at the center of your chest, let's take an inhale as we lift the gaze toward the sky. You can kind of jut your chin out or kind of push the chin out a little bit if you want to feel an extra stretch on the jaw and throat. And then exhale, bringing your chin back down toward the center of your chest. Just go ahead and do that a couple times, using your entire inhale to lift the head up. And your entire exhale to lower your chin back down. Whenever you get to a good stopping point, just come to a neutral head position. With your inhale, we'll look to the left. So just the head and neck are moving here, looking to the left. And then exhale as you look to the right. Go ahead and do that a couple more times. We're inhaling to the left. Exhaling to the right. Maybe you can notice if you have a little more range on one side or the other. Just see. Maybe it's about equal. Who knows? Okay. And then coming back to the center, let's come to hands and knees next. So sweeping those legs around and back. Hands can be on the floor here or up on blocks if you prefer. If you have your hands up on blocks, it just is going to lessen the load, the weight that your hands and your wrists are having to bear. So you can always give it a try either way. So cat and cow here. With your inhale, we'll lower the belly, lift your gaze, lift the tailbone, finding cow pose. And then exhale, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, rounding up through the spine, cat pose. Just flow at your own pace now, inhaling to cow and exhaling to cat. Keep going a couple more times. Warming up the spine, warming up the wrists and arms, shoulders a little bit here too. Getting our awareness into the tilt of the pelvis as well. So there's a lot going on in cat and cow. If there's any little wiggles or twists or turns that you want to add on just for fun, go ahead and do that. I like to kind of reach my shoulder toward its hip, kind of side bending a little bit. And when you've had enough, let's find our way to extended child's pose. So knees go out wide, big toes touching. And then just sinking your seat down toward your heels, only as much as it feels good, of course. You can always add a pillow beneath like your thigh and your calves here if it helps your knees feel a little bit safer. Or you can stay up a little higher. You can always come down to your forearms or walk your hands out toward the top of your mat, finding your version of extended child's pose. Take a few belly breaths here. I think it's just really an effective pose to feel belly breaths. So make sure your knees are wide enough so you have enough space for your belly to expand. we'll start to come back up to tabletop. We will thread the needle here, so we'll keep that left hand planted down. With an inhale, let's reach that right arm way up, so kind of an upward twist here. If you want, rotating that right wrist a couple times as you continue to breathe. And then with an exhale, let's thread the needle, that right arm dipping down and through, setting your left shoulder, or sorry, your right shoulder and your right side of your head on the floor, or up on props, if that feels a little more doable for you. I am finding that if you do prop yourself up, your head, my head needs to have a higher block than the shoulder. Go ahead and explore any variations and noticing the stretch and kind of pull on the right shoulder here. Also in a nice little twist. And then we'll start to rise back up, pressing that left hand into the floor and reaching your right hand high again. And set your right hand down on the ground. We'll switch sides. With an inhale, lift that left arm up, upward twist. Rotate out that left wrist a couple times if you like as you breathe here. And then find an exhale and use that exhale to thread the needle. That left arm dipping down and through. Left shoulder and left side of your head finding the floor or blocks. It actually feels really nice to have a block underneath that left shoulder and then underneath the head here a little bit. So even if you don't need blocks, you can always use them just to add some spice to your experience. I was talking to someone recently who said, oh yeah, I started yoga using blocks, but you really want to get good enough where you don't need blocks. I'm like, no, that's really the opposite. I think you're more likely to have an advanced practice if you use blocks and get to know how they help. Okay, press that right hand down to the floor, lift the left arm back up high, and then set the hand back on the floor. All right, let us find a downward dog here. I kind of need a break for my wrists, so maybe coming to your knees for a second and just kind of shaking out the wrists and hands for a moment. And then finding your way to downward dog as you're ready. Hands can be up on blocks or on the floor, of course. Curling your toes under. Start to lift on up, creating that nice A-frame shape with your body. Reaching that tailbone high, a little tiny micro bend through the elbows, and then reach through your shoulders like you're really pressing your hands down into the blocks. Find your breath. If ever the cueing doesn't make sense, just find your breath. And if you'd like, maybe pedaling out your knees, bending and straightening opposite knees here a couple times. You could try coming up to the tippy toes at the same time and then lowering your heels, just seeing if a little movement here feels nice. And then we'll bend deeply into the knees and then walk your hands to the back of your mat. So you end up in a forward fold near the back of your mat. Ragdoll here. You might toe heel your feet out a little wider, especially if you're feeling too much pressure in your low belly with the knees close. So you can widen out that stance if you like. And maybe finding a little bit of a swaying motion here. Maybe bending the knees enough so your upper body can be a little looser. You might nod your head yes or shake your head no. Just about one more breath. And bend your knees a little deeper. Then walk your hands up your legs as you slowly rise up to stand. When you get to the top, we'll just take a little shake out here. If you feel a little forward foldy and you want to kind of unfold, you can also just reach your arms back and lift the chest a little bit. And then finding a little shake and wobble wiggle when you're ready, getting that circulation flowing, shaking the arms a little bit, shaking the legs a little bit, maybe lifting and lowering the heels so you get a good bounce going through the body. Just loosen up a little bit here. Loosening up. Good, good, good. Okay. Now we're going to do just a little warm up balancing here. So we're going to start with the left foot at the center of the mat. And then your right foot is just going to step directly in front. So your right heel is almost touching your left big toe. And you can have your hands out to the side or at heart center or holding on to something for support. And we're simply going to walk like this to the front of the mat. So see if you can pick up that left foot, slow motion, stepping the left heel in front of the right toes, just like you're walking on a straight line here. We can reach that right leg around and up nice and slow. I'm just going to keep taking steps here to get to the top of the mat. And kind of fun to like slowly move that leg around and then back up to the top. Can be kind of fun if you want it to be, reaching around with the toes. And eventually you'll end up at the top of your mat. And just step to a regular foot position here with the feet side by side. All right, we're going to go through a kind of a simple flow first, and then we'll get into our little balancing flow second. Okay, take a look down at your feet, make sure they're comfy. Pick up all your toes, spread them out, set them right back down. Make sure there's a little bounce in the knees, or a little bend of the knees. With an inhale, reach those arms around and up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come to the floor or blocks. Let's step just the right foot back and then lower your right knee down to the mat. Your right toes can stay tucked under or flatten the top of your foot down to the mat. Either way is just fine. You could bring your hands to your left knee as you rise up for a little more support there. With an inhale, let's reach those arms up and overhead. With an exhale, we're going to find a little side bend to the left. So the left hand comes down to the left hip. Just start to reach that right hand up and over. Kind of a little balancing pose here too. We're kind of pressing that right hip to feel that stretch. Keep breathing. And with an inhale, come back up to center. And then exhale, lower your hands down to the floor or blocks. Toe heel your left foot way out wide, and then step your left knee back to meet your right. You can stay here for a plank pose, shifting the hips forward, or you can come on up to the toes here, lifting your knees and finding plank, either way. Take a breath in, and then exhale, lower your knees, move those blocks to the side, and then lower your chest down. Untuck your toes. Press the tops of your feet down so much that your knees start kind of popping up. Your thighs feel like they're working a little bit. Your glutes even too. With an inhale, start to lift your head and chest, finding your baby cobra today. And exhale, lower down, softening up as you lower. Inhale, rise back up, using the leg muscles here, lifting through the core, back. And exhale to lower. It's going to be really effective, especially if you go nice and slow. Inhale as you rise. Stay lifted here if you'd like. For your exhale, one more breath in, option to hover your hands up off of the floor. And exhale, lower back down. Take a breath here, just resting. With an inhale, start to press up to tabletop, hands and knees. And exhale to child's pose. Take a few breaths in child's pose. Sending breath down to the low back, maybe all the way to the sacrum. Breathing low and slow. With an inhale, start to rise back up, tabletop. Grab those blocks if you like to use them. And then with an exhale, find your downward dog. 3 breaths in your down dog. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in. Last breath out. With an inhale, start to step just that right foot forward and then lower your left knee down to the mat when you get there. You can bring your right hand or both hands up to the right knee if that helps you rise up. And then we'll inhale to reach those arms overhead. Keep breathing here and just check in with the pelvis. See if you're having kind of an arch in the back. Let's see if we can tuck the tailbone under just a little bit, like you're kind of squeezing that left glute a little bit here. So arms back up. And then with an exhale, we'll find a side bend to the right. So the right hand finds the right hip and reach that left arm up and over, pressing outward through that left hip. Breathe here. Feel that stretch. For some people, it might feel a little more interesting to kind of lean back just slightly with it. One more breath in. One more breath out. With an inhale, come back up to the center. Both arms lift. And exhale, lower your hands down to the floor or to blocks. Curl your left toes under, pick up your left knee, and then step your foot to the top of the mat. Forward fold at the top. Inhale, halfway lift, bringing your hands all the way up to the thighs, really straightening through the spine, making like a 90-degree angle with your body. And then exhale, bend your knees a little bit and fold forward once more. Let's reverse swan dive to rise here. So bringing your arms out wide first, then hinging upward through your hips, spinning your palms toward the sky, and then joining hands overhead. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. Take a few moments to cultivate this sense of homecoming, heart-centeredness. Notice what needs to be noticed through the body, through the mind. Come back to your intention. And let's take a clearing breath. Let's inhale through the nose. Sigh and let it go. Go ahead and blink your eyes open. Okay, our next kind of series here is going to include a lot of balancing. I am feeling, if you want to have some creative breathing patterns here, that is just fine. I think it's going to be enough just to find your way to these different poses. So go ahead and breathe at your own pace. Let's bring those feet out to about hip width distance apart or so. We're going to start to find tree pose. So we're going to shift all the weight over to the left foot and just find a really simple tree pose with the right leg. You might keep your right toes on the floor, bring that right heel to your ankle or calf, or you might kind of slide it up a little bit to the left calf, whatever feels kind of easy to you. So here we are. We're going to lift those hands up and overhead if that feels available to you. And then we're gonna transition to through airplane to arrow pose. So if you're not sure what that is, just maybe look for a second. We're gonna start to reach the right foot back, reach the arms back. Your call how long you keep that right foot in the air, and then we're gonna step the right foot back. An arrow pose is just here with the left knee bent and the chest reaching forward and the arms reaching back. So go ahead, find your way there from that right foot in tree pose, airplane pose. And when you're ready, stepping the right foot back, arrow pose, head forward. All right, with an inhale, let's lift those arms up and overhead, kind of a high lunge position here. And exhale to warrior two. That right heel spins down, left knee bending, gazing just beyond the left fingertips. Inhale here, feel your strength. And exhale. Just 2 more breaths right here. Inhale, you can do it. And exhale. Last breath in and breath out. All right, we're gonna come back to the top in reverse. So when you're ready, pivot on that right foot, right toes, and come back to your kind of high lunge. And keep breathing at your own pace. That's right. Arrow pose is next. The arms start to reach back, head reaches forward. Do your best to transition up to airplane pose. That might mean kind of stepping your right foot in a little bit, then lifting it for a second, and then bringing it forward to tree pose if you've got it. And remember, all that wiggling and wobbling and trying to balance is really, really good. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a challenge, so we're really strengthening. Good. Take a big breath in and exhale. Both feet find the floor. Shake out that left leg a little bit. Kind of complex, but I think we've got it here on the second side. As you're ready, finding tree pose on bringing your weight to the right foot, and then tree pose with that left foot coming up, maybe to your right calf, or maybe staying on the floor here. Lots of balancing about to happen, so just take a version that feels kind of simple for you. If you want to put it to breath, you can follow my breathing cues. Otherwise, just do your own thing. With an inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, find your way to airplane pose, breathing as long as you'd like there in airplane. And eventually, if possible, using an exhale to step your left toes down to the mat behind you. Arrow pose, so right knee is bent, head reaching forward, arms reaching back. Good, good. With an inhale, lift those arms up, high lunge. And exhale, warrior two, left heel spinning back and down. Nice bend in that right knee. Gaze beyond your right middle fingers. Right middle finger. Unless you have more than one, that's cool too. Inhale and exhale. 2 more breaths. Inhale and exhale. Last breath in. Last breath out. All right, in reverse now with our inhale, let's reach those hands up, spinning the left toes to face the top of your mat. Hands, I guess, overhead. With an exhale, find arrow pose, arms reaching back, head reaching forward. Breathe per usual here, and then find your way to airplane pose. Again, you can step up that left foot a couple times first, maybe lifting it up slightly behind you. Take your time, stay and practice your balance as long as you'd like, and see if you can find your way back up to tree pose at some point. Make it your own. Whenever you're back up at the top, let's just take a clearing breath in, and then sigh it out, and lower that left foot to the floor. Go ahead and shake out that right leg a little bit, maybe both legs. Good, good, good. Okay. Let's start to come down to the floor. However you like to get there is just fine. We're gonna go right to our backs, pulling your knees in toward your chest as you get there. Just for a moment, maybe not even taking any movement at all, just kind of letting your back settle back into the floor. Oh, it feels extra good, I think, after all that balancing. And then if you want, find that massaging pressure by moving your knees around a little bit, rocking some weight around the low back, the sacrum. Okay. And then set your feet down on the floor. You might bring your arms down in kind of a low V shape or maybe out like a T shape. Press your right foot down into the ground as you start to lift and straighten or almost straighten that left foot up. I think the more you press into that right foot, the easier it gets to keep that left foot up. Circle out your left ankle a couple times both ways. Wiggle your toes while you're at it, giving that joint a lot of nice movement, maybe pointing and flexing a couple times. And then figure 4 is next. Bend your left knee, left ankle just behind your right knee, creating that little figure 4 shape. You're welcome to stay right here, especially if this feels like plenty of a stretch. If you want to step it up at all or you need more sensation, you could try pressing your left hand into your left knee and getting a little more space there. Or you could reach to interlace your fingers behind that right thigh or on top of that right shin. Just make sure your head and your shoulders can still comfortably touch the floor. We don't want to strain. We want to send those really safe signals to the nervous system. And another way to do that is to just kind of like look around your space. Just getting reminders that in this moment, I hope you are able to feel safe. There's no threats in your surroundings here, hopefully. Slowing the breath a bit will send those good signals as well. And then start to bring that right foot back to the floor if it was lifted. We're still in our figure 4 legs here. Let's bring those arms back out wide if they're not there already. Let's just start to twist a little bit through the lower half of the body. So just let your knees kind of sway to one side and then the other. Doesn't matter which way you start. Just letting your knees kind of dip to one side. And in your own timing, bringing them back up and then over to the other side a couple times through. Just side to side. If you want to get fancy, you could turn your head to look in the opposite way that your knees are twisting. So when the knees and legs are going to the right, the gaze could be to the left. And vice versa. Okay. If you remember which side you started on, just make sure you're ending on the opposite side. No big deal if you don't remember. And then coming back to center, we'll press that right foot down a lot again as we once again lift that left foot up. Any little wiggles or shakes in that left leg, maybe bend and straighten your left knee a couple times, and then bend your left knee and bring the left foot to the floor. Take a moment with both feet down on the floor just to feel what's going on through your legs. Does one leg now feel a little more alive? A little more vibrant than the other? I'm feeling a very like dull sense in the right leg and a really like vibrant, alive sense in the left. Let's even it out now. Press that left foot down as you start to lift and straighten or almost straighten that right leg up. You can always hold on to your thigh here too if that helps you keep it lifted while you create some motion through your right ankle, wiggling your toes. Circle both ways a couple times. Point and flex a couple of times. Just kind of moving all those joints there in the ankle and toes. Okay. When you're ready, find figure 4, bending your right knee, right ankle just behind your left knee. Figure 4. You don't have to match your first side if you don't want to. You can always stay right here as is, or press your right hand into that right knee, creating more space there through the right hip. Possibly reaching to interlace the fingers behind the left thigh. Just make sure your head and your shoulders are still comfortably grounded down to the floor. If you're kind of looking for an in-between, you could try to kind of get a block up there to step your left foot up onto. That'll take you just one step closer toward that interlacing the fingers position. Your call. You can always take a little rocking or any other little movements that feel right. Okay, one more breath wherever you're at. Lowering that left foot back to the floor if it was lifted up there. We're still in figure 4 here, and just start that twisting side to side again, noting whatever side you start on, remembering that we want to end on the opposite side. So just letting your knees kind of lower, twist one way, maybe gazing in the opposite direction. And then choosing your timing here, bringing the gaze and the knees back up to center before switching sides. Just a few times through. Making sure to end on the side that you have designated, the one that you did not start on, so it's kind of equal. And then come back to center when you're ready. Press that left foot down and once again start to lift and straighten that right leg. Give it a little shake or maybe bend and straighten your right knee a couple times. Just a little more motion through that right leg while it's lifted. And then bend your right knee and set your foot down. Now take a moment to feel both feet comfortably on the floor. Just notice anything there through the lower half of the body. Good. Okay, if there are any last poses, movements, or stretches that your body wants, go ahead and answer those calls. Maybe a long body stretch, arms reaching in opposite directions. Maybe a happy baby. Maybe there's another pose that will feel good to you. Kind of like grabbing opposite shoulders and just kind of rolling out that spot in between the shoulder blades. Whatever you want here as you finish up. And then whenever you're ready for your final rest, go ahead and move into a comfortable position. Could be how you started today, Shavasana, corpse pose, or maybe constructive rest with your knees bent. As always, let those arms do what they want. You can always take a few experiments to figure that out. Maybe your arms want to be up and overhead today, maybe down by your sides. Taking your time as you get as comfortable as you think you can get in this moment. If one more sighing, clearing breath sounds good to you, go ahead. Maybe even making a little sound with it if you want. And just letting your body experience rest. Noticing what you notice again. Trying to be mindful and intentional with which thoughts you want to engage with here. Maybe just watching them or kind of shooing them away if you want. And coming back to just the present moment. I know that's hard, but we can practice coming back to now. Coming back to this part of your breath. Just really being with it. If you ever feel like you are too much in your head with your eyes closed, you could try kind of taking an external step by opening your eyes and just kind of expanding your view. So, kind of using all of your peripherals or letting your gaze kind of drift around. Sometimes that can be helpful to get out of a busy mind. Let yourself rest. Release your burdens. If only just for now. Letting go a little more. Anything pulling your attention from the past or the future, just right here in this moment. Breathing, resting. And know that you can keep resting as long as you'd like here. You don't have to follow these reawakening cues until you're ready, if ever. Whenever you do feel like reawakening, just slowly wiggling fingers and toes a little bit. Maybe running your thumb across all your fingers or something else that feels good. You might open and close your jaw, swallow, or yawn. Any other intuitive movements as you start to bring that aliveness back into the body. Eventually choosing a side and then rolling onto that side in the fetal position with your knees slightly tucked in. Take one very slow breath completely here. Just kind of savor this transition moment, this liminal space. And when you're ready, pressing your way up to a comfortable seat using the strength and help of your hands, arms. Joining palms in front of the heart center. You might close your eyes if you like. And feel free to join me in our closing chant. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You can sing, you can say, you can listen, you can hum, whatever feels right to you. Let's take a breath in to prepare. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace in our actions, peace in our words, peace in our thoughts. Bringing thumbs up to third eye center. Let's take a little bow forward in gratitude together now. Peace.